It is time for the Wednesday Wrangle with commentator Liz Storer in Sydney and columnist Justin Smith in Melbourne. Great to talk to both of you. I've got to get your thoughts. Let's start with you, Justin, from the great southern city there. What you thought of Marley Cooper bringing Sydney to a standstill, blocking that Sydney Harbour tunnel back in June, walks free, walks out of court 3 times with nothing happening, no consequences.
Look, I've got to tell you, I'm not going to comment on somebody else's mental health, and because I don't know the circumstances behind it, but I've got to say, it's not the way to protest. I admire the sentiment, I admire a passion, but they're crappy protests, and they don't bring anybody along. They don't convince anybody to your side of the argument. So I'm not a fan of the protest, but look, unfortunately, we've seen a lot of people get let off for far worse as well in this country, not just in that particular state.
Yeah, it's a shocker. Liz?
Look, I just wonder where the culpability lies then, Chris. I mean, we have governments around our nation and the world. We have our educational systems. We have corporates pushing this climate change alarmism on people on a daily basis. Now, there's people like you and I who go, lol, that's great, and get on with our lives. And then we've got other people who are far more vulnerable, much like during the COVID hysteria. Some of us more got on with our lives than others, and others are still limping around, suffering mentally because of the narrative that they were fed for months and months on end. So they get fed this agenda. This woman's climate anxiety did not come from nowhere. And then they commit crimes in the name of that climate anxiety. And now we're to understand, as of yesterday, the legal system then gives them a free pass because climate anxiety. So this could go on forever then, Chris. They all get a free pass.
It's a completely vicious circle, absolutely. And I agree, the culpability goes very wide to the media, to politics that feed this hysteria, this irrational hysteria. And I've got no doubt that there are people who suffer from it. Liberal, Labor, Green, Teals, how many sides do you want? They all pump out the same hysterical nonsense and reject rational debate. And of course there are people who are anxious about this. We've spoken to psychologists on this program about it. Poor kids are scared that the world's going to end. But then you commit a crime and effectively your defence is the same hysteria that's led to that crime. Chris, so nobody ever pays any...
Just on that, though, there is also anxiety around the fact that not enough is being done. Now, I'm not talking about this particular case.
Yeah, but it's nonsensical,
But when you talk about anxiety, it is not all one-way traffic, mate.
You're going to feed the anxiety yourself here, mate. This is what we're not doing enough. We're all going to die. It's nonsense, mate. It's nonsense. Listen to proper scientists.
I didn't say we're all going to die. Don't put words in my mouth. I didn't say that.
But Justin, no matter how anxious they are about this and no matter how legitimate they think that fear is, the fact that these people think that gluing themselves to the road, holding up peak hour traffic, I mean, this woman who was let off yesterday, you can watch her segment on The Project where she said, these privileged people, they're not doing enough. Like she didn't just use her privilege to disallow thousands of people not getting to work that day on time or not getting home to their families. Like it is unhinged behaviour.
Oh, I feel a little hysteria kicking in here.
It is insane. It is insane.
Yeah, it's completely ineffective.
It is absolutely insane. In fact, I wonder if I can test my producer back in the control room and bring forward a cartoon I was going to share with you later in the program. This is Johannes Leek's cartoon due to be published in the Australian newspaper tomorrow, his editorial cartoon. I mentioned yesterday how the Vice President of the US, Kamala Harris, praised Australia for its climate action when she met Anthony Albanese in Tokyo. And here's Anthony Albanese saying, climate plan, crippling energy poverty by 2050. And Kamala Harris says, hell, it's ambitious, but if anyone can pull it off, it's you. I mean, that literally, Liz, is how crazy we are.
Johannes has once again absolutely hit the nail on the head here. That is just beautiful. It's perfect. We all know it's bogus. We all know it's completely impossible, but keep making these outlandish claims and promises and what have you, despite the fact our entire nation's only responsible for 1.3% of global emissions.
Just one point, though, when you talk about hysteria and anxiety, Justin. Let's have a look at this motorist who was caught up in the protest, trying to get the protest to move on. Do we actually care a little bit about his anxiety and the hysteria he has to confront?
I'm not sure what's about to happen.
You f***ing everyone stay up, you dumb Get the f*** out of the way! Hey, you selfish You selfish
Now, Justin, he's just worried about getting to work and looking after his family, and that is reason to be anxious.
Yeah, look, maybe both of you misheard me at the start when I said that I don't believe in these protests because I don't think they win anyone over to her side. I understand the passion behind it, and I believe there is mass hysteria on both sides. But yeah, I don't like the protests. They don't work. They don't work. They get a lot of media attention, but they don't work. They don't win anybody over, and I would hope that we're about winning people over now.